Bonjour la classe, aujourd'hui c'est mercredi le 13 mai et aujourd'hui nous allons étudier les superlatives. So the point of using superlatives, kind of similar to last week when we were looking at comparatives. Superlatives and comparatives are a way of using adjectives to describe something. So useful for whatever unit we're in, and as you progress through French, the more that you can use this, the more complex the sentences will be, the more interesting you can make them, just like we do in English, but now you'll be able to do it in French. So let's start with a little recap of last week. We looked at comparatives. So let's get up the three major ways that we can compare in French. You can say plus que, aussi que, et moins que. Plus que, aussi que, moins que. And that is like in English, I would say more, I don't know, more something than. I was going to say more big than, but we don't say that. Bigger than, as tall as, or less beautiful than. So using our adjectives, we can make these phrases with comparatives. And there were some exceptions. Okay, so comparatives are comparing, and you've got two things. So today we're going to focus on superlatives. Okay, so I'm gonna use my pointer, here we go. We're gonna look at superlatives today. Going back to my wonderful acteurs, les acteurs de 21 Jump Street et 22 Jump Street. Nous avons Channing Tatum, qui j'adore, et Jonah Hill, que je trouve aussi beaucoup que Channing Tatum. So let's have a look at a couple of examples. Channing Tatum, il dit, je suis le plus bel homme du monde. Je suis le plus bel homme du monde. Et Jonah, il dit, oui, mais tu es le moins intelligent. Mais tu es le moins intelligent. Okay, so pause if you need to. I want you to have a little think. What do each of those sentences mean if you were to translate them into English? What is the sense? That is your first thing. The second thing then is, how do you think we make a superlative? Like if you were to guess what's going to come next, how do you think we would create superlatives? Okay, so let's have a look at this first one. Channing, il dit, je suis le plus bel homme du monde. I am the most handsome man in the world. Du monde is in the world. I'm the most handsome man in the world. So this word here, belle, is the adjective for beau. It just changes to the L right before this. Vowel sound, but otherwise, because we can't say beau homme, so two vowel sounds together, so it becomes bel homme. Et Jonah, il répond, oui, mais tu es le moins intelligent. Yes, but you are the least intelligent. Okay, so there's the translations. And how do you think that you would make it? So let's have a look at how we recognize a superlative and then how you can create it yourself. And as you can see, with a superlative, we're just talking about one thing. There's no comparison. It's the most or the least. Okay, so before we move on to how to make superlatives, I want to do a quick recap on something that you looked at in French 1, which is all about adjective positioning. So where we put adjectives in a sentence is different in French to in English, and there is a general rule that we follow, and this acronym BAGS really helps us to remember. So that's why I put this slide in here. Obviously, when I do this in the classroom, we take a longer time and we can process it more slowly. So if you need to pause this at any point, you can, or if some of it's going over your head a little bit, don't worry, follow along with the video, and then you can always come back if you need to. So let's have a look at these two sentences. I find that looking at context always helps us the most. J'habite dans une belle maison. J'habite dans une belle maison. Elle est une étudiante intelligente. Elle est une étudiante intelligente. So here, this adjective, belle, beautiful, comes before the adjective, maison. But in this example, in this sentence, intelligente, the adjective, comes after the noun, étudiante. So in French, we know that most adjectives come after the noun. That's colors come afterwards. Obviously, personality comes afterwards. Most adjectives come afterwards, but there are some which come before the noun. And this isn't that important when you look at comparatives, but when we're looking at superlatives, it just affects our sentence order a little bit. Okay, so don't worry too much about it, but I want to teach on it just for this video, just so you understand why it is like that, so you can practice it the right way. So let's recap bags. So the first one, first letter in our acronym is B. And we have two examples here, beau et jolie. Now, beau is the same adjective here, belle, beau, masculine, feminine. So B stands for beauty. So any of our adjectives that are beauty are going to go before the noun. They're the exception to the rule. They go before the noun. A is for age. So we have jeune et vieux. Those are the two most common ones. Jeune means young and vieux means old. J stands for goodness. So bon et mauvais are our two, bon et mauvais are our two adjectives, good and bad. And last week we looked at how good and bad are both irregular in a comparative. We have meilleur et pire, and then we're going to have the same exceptions in the superlatives. Okay, so this one, we're going to put this on the back burner. Okay, if I wait for that bar to go away. The last one is S, size. So any of our adjectives which indicate size, petit, grande, those are both size adjectives. They're going to go before the noun as well. So we can have j'habite dans une belle maison, une petite maison, une vieille maison, une mauvaise maison. Any of these adjectives I would choose to describe house would come before. And that's it. If I'm talking about the color, it's going to go afterwards. So, j'habite dans une belle maison rouge, for example. All right, so that's our French one recap done. Let's move on to how we make superlatives. So, a superlative is when we want to say the least or the most using adjectives. So it is, in English, it would be like, French is the most romantic language in the whole world. There you go, for example. Indiana is the most interesting state in all of America. It's a sentence. Whether it's right or wrong, it's a sentence. So here I've put kind of a little formula together. If it's a straight adjective that's normal, it comes after the noun, you're going to have the noun, then le ou la, plus ou moins, and then your adjective. Okay, now I know this looks a little bit confusing. Feel free to pause the video, take notes as you need to. Your title is superlatives. And I'm just going to keep going. So you pause, rewind, fast forward as you need to. Okay, so to practice with these superlatives, we're going to look at these two sentences here, and then I want you to translate them into English. So first one, and you can also repeat after me to practice your French. Je suis l'étudiant le plus drôle de la classe. Je suis l'étudiant le plus drôle de la classe. Okay, so you can write down your translation, what you think that means. And the second one is Westworld est la série la moins ennuyeuse de la télévision. Westworld est la série la moins ennuyeuse de la télévision. Okay. So in a moment, I'm going to show you the answers. So if you need to, just pause. And when you're ready, let's have a look. So first one. Je suis l'étudiant le plus drôle de la classe. I am the funniest student in the class. So in English, we don't really say the most funny student. I mean, you can, but in English, we often have this EST at the end, funniest. In French, there's not really an ending. We use le plus drôle. Then the second one we have, Westworld est la série la moins ennuyeuse de la télévision. Westworld is the least boring show on TV. So Westworld is the least boring show on TV, and that's it. So le plus is the most, et le moins is the least. Okay, so another thing with French, like you're never going to get away from the agreements. So this is le plus because étudiant is masculine. But here we don't have le moins, we have la moins because série is feminine. So remember, we're not saying that we're not agreeing with boring, we're agreeing with the noun. So the noun is feminine, la is feminine, ennuyeuse is feminine. Étudiant is masculine, so le is masculine, and drôle is masculine, but it wouldn't change anyway because of how drôle is. Okay, so again, pause as you need to. Make sure you've copied down the right answers so you can go back and have a look at it. Okay. So let's have a look at the superlatives for using our bags adjectives. So remember, going back to that slide where we looked at the beauty, age, goodness, size adjectives, this actually looks a lot simpler. So we have the adjective can come before the noun. And so we just put le ou la ou les plus the adjective plus the noun, ou moins plus the adjective plus the noun. Okay, now this slide is kind of messed up. I didn't realize it's kind of giving you the answer straight away, but that's fine. So let's look at it together. You can repeat after me, you can copy it down, and you can just digest it more slowly if you need to by pausing it. So this, in French, the sentence is, Paris est la plus grande ville de France, which is Paris is the biggest city in France. Paris est la plus grande ville de France. So ville is feminine, so la ville. So we could just say Paris is a city in France. But we're saying it's a big city in France, une grande ville in France, de France. Then now we want to say it's not just a big city, it's the biggest. So la plus grande ville de France. So you see how already you know how to make simple sentences. It's a big city in France. And now we're just saying it is the biggest. Again, in English, we have EST. In French, you just add la plus. So our bags adjectives are a little easier to construct these sentences. Okay, and then the last, or the second sentence is La bête est moins beau, pardon. La bête est le moins beau prince de Disney. La bête est le moins beau prince de Disney, which in English is the beast is the least handsome Disney prince. Controversial. The beast is the least handsome Disney prince. So again, we have le prince. Prince is masculine. So le prince, la bête est le beau prince, the handsome prince. And then instead we could say le plus beau prince, but in this sentence we've got le moins beau prince. So you can build up your sentences using a superlative to indicate biggest, best, or least, or worst. Okay. And so that brings us back to our irregular, best or worst. Our G for goodness, as I indicated right at the beginning, it's going to be the same as our comparatives. So we don't say in English, Madame Hunter is the most good teacher. We would say she is the best teacher. So we have an irregular adjective even in English. So remember, we have meilleur et pire. If it's feminine, you add an E. If it's plural, add an S. And for pire, add an S if it's plural. Okay. So let's practice. This time, I'm giving you the English. And I want you to pause the video and try and translate that into French, whether you agree with it or not. Try and translate it into French, and then I will show you the answer. So you have to, and I've put some color here to indicate Madame Hunter is the, you can choose le, la, ou les, best, meilleur or pire, teacher, you should know how to say teacher in French, at nos side. So remember to think about, as you're translating it, teacher can be masculine or feminine. What am I? Masculine or feminine? And then you choose masculine or feminine right here for this one. And then when you write meilleur, you're going to choose a version of meilleur that indicates feminine, singular, because there's only one of me. Fortunately for everybody, there's only one of me. Okay, so as you need to, pause the screen, write your French, and when you're ready, jump back in. Okay, so here's the answer. Madame Hunter is the best teacher at Northside. Madame Hunter est la meilleure professeure de Northside. Madame Hunter est la meilleure professeure de Northside. So we have la feminine, meilleur with an E, because again, professeur, I'm a female teacher. If it was a masculine teacher, if you were saying Monsieur Carter est le meilleur professeur. So it would sound very, very similar. Spelling would be a little bit different. Pronunciation would be a bit different, but similar. Okay, voila. And that is it for superlatives. So the activity for today, you need to go back onto the PowerSchool page, go to the link below, and click on there, and you will have a Google form using all different superlatives to describe people in your class, or people in your grade. So go ahead, read them, select, and vote for who you think fits that description using the superlatives in French. Okay, merci beaucoup, classe. Au revoir.